Schenck vs. the U.S. by Catherine Lee, Sophia Choi, Cindy Cao, and Miranda Bai. What happened? The background to the case. The year is 1917, and America had decided to join the Great War, or World War I as we know it today. Unfortunately, America had no army readily available. So, the government called for mandatory conscription. Many were angered by the mandatory conscription issued by the government. One such group was the Socialist Party of Philadelphia, who started to write pamphlets to protest the conscription. The writing, distribution, and creation of the pamphlets was overseen by the party's General Secretary, Charles Schenck, and another member, Elizabeth Bauer. The pamphlets included many differing opinions on conscription. It called for people to watch out for their rights and claimed that the draft was unconstitutional. It even went as far to equate the draft to slavery. However, these letters were only sent out to possible conscripts. Because only possible conscripts received these pamphlets telling them not to enlist, Elizabeth Bauer and Charles Schenck were both charged with violating the Espionage Act of 1917. The laws of the case and the defendant's arguments. The Espionage Act of 1917 was passed to serve three purposes: to stop military insubordination, to stop the support of enemy countries during wartime, and of course to prevent negative press about conscription. Bauer and Schenck were both charged with 6 months in prison by the lower courts. However, they argued back, claiming that the Espionage Act violated their First Amendment rights. In the early 1900s, if any matter dealt with the Constitution or amendments of the Constitution, the case was allowed to bypass the Court of Appeals and go straight to the Supreme Court, which is exactly what Bauer and Schenck did. The Supreme Court decision, the final ruling, and the legacy of the case. After reviewing the case, the Supreme Court unanimously voted against Bauer and Schenck. The majority opinion was written by Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes. Holmes mentioned that because the pamphlet was written during times of war instead of times of peace, it posed a greater threat to our nation's security. To the Supreme Court, a decrease in the Army also meant an increase in danger for our national security. Because it fit all parts of the clear and present danger test created by Justice Holmes, this case could not be protected under the First Amendment. Justice Holmes's majority opinion is probably most famous for the clear and present danger test, which was used to refine the bad tendency test. The bad tendency test just states that any opinion that would harm public welfare could not be protected under the First Amendment. Justice Holmes clarified this vague test by asking if the opinion would create a clear and present danger. If so, the opinion would not be able to be protected by the First Amendment. Holmes used this example to explain the clear and present danger test. If a man is sitting in a crowded theater and starts to shout fire in order to cause panic, he is creating a clear and present danger. Therefore, the First Amendment cannot protect him. Schenck vs. the United States is not only known for the clear and present danger test, but also known for its failure to overturn the Espionage Act of 1917. Since its creation almost 100 years ago, numerous people have been prosecuted under this act, including the famous communist spies Julius and Ethel Rosenberg in their case in 1951, as well as Edward Snowden, the NSA whistleblower, in 2013.